Hi, I'm Mark Curtis, and this is 12 News Weekend. Every week, we take a look back at the best stories of the week from 12 News journalists. On today's show, we'll give you a behind-the-scenes look at Phoenix Library's rare book room and a unique way to experience new home buying before it's even built. But first, 12 News reporter Kyle Simchuk breaks down the implications that the dismantling of the Department of Education could have on Arizona learners.
It's a move that could reshape how education is funded and governed in the U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to sign an executive order directing Education Secretary Linda McMahon to begin dismantling the Department of Education. McMahon says the department has failed students and is bloated with bureaucracy. She says overhauling the federal agency will empower parents to make the best educational choices for their children.
The Department of Education's role in Arizona is really to help with funding and making sure that our students are provided for in different ways. This includes things like funds to our special ed programs, protecting students' civil rights, and supporting a lot of our lower income students.
Arizona receives billions in federal education dollars each year. The agency is also responsible for college financial aid and student loans. State Superintendent Tom Horn says shutting down the U.S. Department of Education would not result in a loss of federal formula funding for Arizona. In a statement, Horn said, quote, "Those dollars are appropriated by Congress and tied to federal education laws for special education, disadvantaged students, English language learners, and others. The money for competitive grants could also be directed back to states. There is no reason to filter funds through a federal bureaucracy."
The Department of Education protects some of that process to make sure that that funding actually gets to the students that need it. Here's the deal. Once you start stripping away some of these bigger pieces like the Department of Education, it's going to be a lot easier to strip away other services, other programs, other funding opportunities for our students.
Even with an executive order, President Trump cannot shutter the Department of Education himself. It would take an act of Congress.
Now is the time to reach out to your representatives and ask them to stop this from happening.
Kyle Simchuk, 12 News.
Like countless Arizonans, Jim McCauley and his wife, who live in Scottsdale, were heading into Mexico for a day trip.
We were going to visit the pharmacy, have a lunch, and then be on our way. It's something we've done many, many times before.
They usually go in on foot and say the process is easy.
Normally walking into Mexico is just like walking into a Walmart.
But on Thursday, when they got to the point of entry in Yuma, that wasn't the case.
The line was very, very long. Most of the people in line didn't know what was going on. The only progress that we made in that line were people that were leaving.
When they asked others how long they had been in line,
they were telling us it was a 3 to 4 hour wait.
Both finally decided to cancel their trip because of it.
It was frustrating because we didn't expect it, hadn't heard about it. For us, it's a 3.5 hour trip down there and back.
The reason for the long wait, U.S. citizens traveling into Mexico not only have to bring their passport, but now must obtain a travel visa, according to the Mexican consulate of Phoenix, a form most Americans don't know about because Mexico hasn't strictly enforced it until now.
That's what was taking so much time, as far as we could tell.
The consulate says it's to make tourists comply with the requirements and for safety. You can fill it out at the port of entry or online. To find it, go to the Mexican consulate of Phoenix website, click on this link called Visa para Personas. From there, click the first link near the top. Hit this plus sign, agree to the conditions, then fill out the form, including where you're going in Mexico, what port of entry you're entering, and other personal information. You can then print out the form and bring it with you. However, the consulate says it will cost you about $30. For McCauley, he says until the process gets smoothed out, he isn't planning on going to Mexico anytime soon.
It's not worth the time or the effort now.
Really try to walk through it as if you're entering in your own property, your own house, whatever it is that you're building at that moment. And what's so neat is finally, for once, instead of looking at a piece of paper or a small monitor, you can see things in full scale.
12 projectors on the ceiling of this 6,000 square foot room, making paper blueprints and dreams of homes, restaurants, landscapes, you name it, life-size.
What we could do is we can actually move the floor plan, and you can see me pointing while we move it in different directions. So we're gonna walk into the great room. And so at this moment, it says it's vaulted. You can see the dimensions of the great room. You could really show any size floor plan out there. In fact, last week we had a 40,000 square foot house being projected here.
So these digital floor plans really help people get a better lay of the land in sense, and they bring in this rolling furniture so people can have a better sense of the size of the room and the size of their furniture. And this also helps interior designers with their line of work.
Right here they want a king size bed. So you have the bed and the nightstands, but where are the windows? See where the windows are? A lot of times they'll put the windows too close together and they find that after the fact. As designers, we can actually visualize it, but for our clients, it's much harder. So having another tool for them to actually walk through their house gives them a really good opportunity before we actually construct it.
Can't forget their other building that has 33 TVs in this one room to help people visualize how to build the inside.
We had so many interior designers coming through our facility and they kept saying, what about the inside? What about the inside? That we try to figure out a way to show any sort of interior design in full scale. And as you can see here, this is actually a kitchen, and a client, instead of being, again, just on paper or on a TV monitor, they can come in and they could truly say, you know, this is how the backsplash is gonna look, this is the height of the counter, and they can visualize a room.
Now let's talk about change orders. It's any designer or builder's least favorite term. It's where people make changes to a design as it's being built. Former Pittsburgh Steeler wide receiver and Chandler native Marcus Wheaton owns his own landscaping business here in Arizona, and he says using this technology will help tackle change orders. Do you ever run into the problem where people are like, oh, I want it this size, and it's just not realistic?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We see that all the time. With plants, with trees, right, with fountains and things like that, hardscape. So being able to see it in here, again, eliminates change orders.
100% of the clients that we've had come in so far, they get stuck in a room, whether it's like the kitchen island's not big enough or a room's too small, but they make changes 100% of the time.
Coming up, a look at how AI reporters are being used in Arizona and the expansive growth that's happening in the West Valley.
Decisions made in Washington, D.C. are being felt in the Grand Canyon.
Everyone is kind of on edge. No one knows what each day is going to bring. If today's the day they're going to be let go.
Last month, the Trump administration cut 1,000 employees from the National Park Service. 10 workers at the Grand Canyon lost their jobs, including Jim Landau, a biological science technician.
So I was busy working outside in the snow. I got home, kicked off my shoes Friday night, and then my boss called me and he said, unfortunately, we got the termination notice and everything.
Landau's department, which manages native plants, restoration projects, and even landscaping at the park's hotels, has been nearly cut in half. This is the 4-page termination notice he received on Valentine's Day. It says in part, the department determined that you have failed to demonstrate fitness or qualifications for continued employment.
When you say that we're not working hard, when nobody from Washington, D.C. came down to evaluate our performance and hike down into the canyon in 100-degree heat and do our work.
Other employees reported getting identical letters.
I know somebody who was just recently fired. They had been here for 3 weeks. They hadn't received their first paycheck yet, and they were being fired for performance just like everybody else.
Russell Gates has worked as a seasonal park ranger in the past. His partner is employed full-time in the park. He says while 10 positions being cut may not seem like a big deal to some, 4 out of the 10 employees fired worked at the entrance gate.
Even when the feed booths are fully staffed, you can get a line that goes all the way back past Tusayan, that lasts well over 2 hours.
We care about the American people. We're doing it for the public good, not for the paycheck.
John Hockaday has also worked as a seasonal ranger. He fears the cuts are only the beginning of a broader effort to weaken public land protections.
We really believe in the work that we do, and it's been really disheartening to see that this administration wants to let so many people go. If you're looking for government waste, it's not here in the Park Service.
And spring break kicks off the busy season here at the Grand Canyon, so if you are planning to bring your family up, the park recommends getting to the entrance before 10 a.m. Otherwise, you could find yourself in a 1 to 2 hour wait.
Stella and Oliver are back.
We're happy to have them home.
Rosie Lopez's beloved tortoises for the past 10 years.
They're part of the family.
It was last week when Lopez says they were taken from the backyard of her Phoenix home by 2 people. Security cameras showing the moments it happened.
Oh my God, it's heavy!
A man and woman who seemed to know each other, loading each 100-pound tortoise in the back of the woman's car and taking off.
I was devastated.
Lopez claimed the man in the video was a construction worker who was helping repair her home after it caught fire in July. She was told by the man's father, who was also working on the home, that the woman said she was with an animal rescue and took the tortoises because they were being neglected. Our story on the theft aired Thursday. Then the very next day, when Lopez's son went back to the house,
He says, "Mom, the turtles are here."
the woman saw our story and returned them.
She did apologize.
Lopez says she talked with that woman about what happened.
She said that the construction guy, had called her and told her that they weren't being cared for. He claimed to be a relative of ours working there.
So the woman took them. In the video, you can hear her ask the man if she can have both. I also spoke with that woman. She didn't want to go on camera, but said she works for an animal rescue out of Pinal County and claims to have received several voice messages from that worker saying the animals needed help, so she decided to step in. She played some of those messages to me over the phone, where a man does say that he's been working on the property for a month and believed the tortoises were neglected. After seeing our story, the woman claimed the worker was misrepresenting what was actually going on, leading to this situation. While Stella and Oliver are back, Lopez says this isn't over and still plans on pressing charges against the man and woman.
I want these people to pay for what they did.
Popo's Fiesta del Sol could have picked anywhere for a new location. Trendy neighborhoods, high-priced real estate. Instead,
This location, we've been trying to get out here for a couple of years.
they picked Goodyear.
This is our bread and butter as of right now.
Elva and Mario Tello say the restaurant is popular, probably because there are so many new people in the West Valley and the businesses are catching up.
Goodyear is only built out 17%. So there's still room for tons of opportunity and growth.
The Southwest Valley Chamber of Commerce says Goodyear's come a long way. It didn't become popular until the last few years.
Why would we go to the West Valley? But now it's like, yes, we're going to go to the West Valley.
Retail follows rooftops.
Goodyear Mayor Joe Pizzillo says his city is the 9th fastest growing in the country. Buckeyes #1. All that growth means the city needs a lot of construction. And Pizzillo says the city's trying to keep up with it.
We're trying to keep up with the infrastructure, and I think we're doing a relatively pretty good job of it right now.
The city's website lists projects at least 2 years out. Bridge improvements, water treatment plant, road projects, all scheduled through 2027.
It's crazy, and it's growing from here. It's just going to go further out. So it's nice to have restaurants, shopping places, stuff like that out here.
Popo's is not the Tellos' biggest restaurant, but in Goodyear, it's sometimes the most successful.
There's enough business for everyone, and I think when everyone's doing well, then we're doing well.
And Goodyear and the rest of the West Valley are only getting bigger.
Meet Daniel. Hey there, I'm Daniel, one of the Arizona Supreme Court's new AI reporters.
And Victoria.
If you're wondering why the court decided to use an AI-generated spokesperson like me to share its news.
And Daniel and Victoria's boss, the Chief Justice of the Arizona Supreme Court, and Timur. Timur is definitely not AI.
We are trying to be where the people are, and the people are on social media.
Timur wants 90-second AI reports to tell citizens more than the dry legalese and court rulings that they never read.
We want to let people know, here's what we decided, here's the key takeaways to decisions, and sometimes here's what you can do about it.
When you say AI reporter, it makes me a little uncomfortable because Daniel and Victoria are just not reporters.
They're not reporters. They are really news readers, and they are saying exactly what we're putting into their mouth.
AI is also cheaper than hiring somebody to do that job.
Well, it is. We wouldn't hire anybody anyway because we're government. We don't have that kind of money.
The larger context is bringing judges closer to the people affected by their rulings at a time when distrust is growing.
We are, at the end of the day, public servants, and the public deserves to hear from us.
You're looking at a recent concert in LA where Chandler's own Charlie Green, he's better known as CG5, is in the midst of his world tour. The 25-year-old artist is captivating audiences and carving out a real name for himself in the music industry.
The whole crowd was singing along with him. Joe Dana tells us about the kid from the East Valley making it big in something called the Nerdcore music scene.
We've never brought to our 12 News studio.
Wait, is this where we are?
Someone quite like Charlie Green V, known to his fans as CG5. Charlie makes nerdcore pop music. Many of his songs are based on video games and memes. But if you think all this is child's play, it's actually big business. CG5 has nearly 4 million followers on TikTok, 8 million subscribers on YouTube, and a distribution deal with the iconic Virgin Music Group.
Have you ever stepped back to just grasp how big this has become?
I've definitely taken a step back to look and be like, this is the most amazing thing that I feel like I've ever done and will ever do, besides get married, which is awesome. I love my wife and I love my puppy.
He gets inspiration from a range of artists.
I grew up with the 80s. Michael Jackson, Phil Collins, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
And just kidding, there's nothing on my hand. But
his music videos feature animations or himself. The latest hit, an emotional ballad about the video game Poppy Playtime.
I've grown up forever with Pokemon. So that definitely inspired me to be like, what if I could be a part of something like this?
In this attention economy, a mass following on social media can bring ad revenue, paid sponsors, and as in the case of CG5, enough clout to draw crowds at shows around the world. He's in the middle of a 40-city concert tour, just returning from Australia.
It's quite intense to really see that every single number is a person, and I get to meet these people on tour.
His career spawns gigs for other local artists. This music video, Forbidden Feeling, is a 2.5-minute whirlwind of props and performers from the Valley who burst in and out of the camera's view. The video, shot in one single take. And if making music wasn't enough, CG5 is also finishing a film.
It's a horror film, and it's got 3 parts to it, and that 3rd part is featuring you, actually. Did you know that?
Yeah, I'll send you the bill later.
Okay, good.
For the residuals.
Yes, of course.
Actually, I did read a few lines for his movie as a favor.
Hello?
He needed a news reporter for a couple scenes.
Now, this is a global emergency.
It's a very big experiment because my audience did not expect me to do something like make my own short film.
Where this ambitious artist goes next is anyone's guess.
Doing my own cartoon or something like that. I love watching competitive shows like The Voice or America's Got Talent. That's still something I feel like I could win.
In Phoenix, Joe Dana, 12 News.
A matinee game in Maryvale that suddenly becomes mayhem. Kevin Durant commands a crowd on his way to the front row. Yo, KD. Ryan Dunn and a camera crew head to the bullpen. This spring training spectacle is for Justin Dunn, Ryan's older brother, pitching for the first time in front of Ryan in 2 years.
I'm glad to be out here and watching him throw. It's like me being in here again and watching my older brother do his thing.
The journey for Justin back to this point was demanding. Dunn's dealt with shoulder problems since 2021. He hasn't pitched in an MLB game in almost 3 years. A sibling who was once trying to light the way for his little brother.
Everything I did was for him to see that he could do it.
Was relying on Ryan to get back.
I'm very glad that I'm able to be his backbone.
For him to just say, I got you the way you got me, was everything. So just having him there and to show him that we're pretty strong people and we can get through anything.
It's been a busy past 24 hours for Justin.
That's his brother. And he's pitching tomorrow against your Brewers.
Yes.
A huge deficit almost caused Dunn to call it a night.
I was upset because I knew I had to pitch today, and I was trying to get some sleep.
An epic comeback would soon feel like caffeine.
I was about to leave, and then I saw Kay start getting the crowd hyped up, and I was like, oh, he's about to go crazy, so I'm going to stay here for a little bit longer.
A day later, the sun showed up for the Sox. Durant, Dunn, and the parents on hand for Justin's 2 scoreless innings. A double play ball finished the day.
I see a dog. I see an older brother. I see the brother that I know.
I haven't had that in a while.
A support system of sons, wound tightly by a brother's bond.
It really meant a lot to me that he came out today.
In Phoenix, Jake Garcia, 12 Sports.
On to the next chapter as we now explore Arizona's only rare book collection in a public library.
In this room, we have collections that equal about 5,000 items.
books. We have clay tablets from 2000 BC all the way to artist-made books from 2024. Directly behind me is a cabinet full of first edition, and then surrounding me is sort of a tasting of books from 15th through 19th century and some first edition classics. This is The Life and Death of King John. It's from 1685, and we believe it comes from Shakespeare's Fourth Folio. This is a tiny Bible. It's a miniature Bible from 1593, and you can just see how tiny that type is.
I think I need a magnifying glass.
I like to place this next to this big Bible. People kind of get a kick out of that. This is a Washington printing press from 1895. It's fully functional. Then if you wouldn't mind, grab this and slowly pull it toward me and then carry it back, and then we will roll it out, and then we would get a print.
Voila.
So here we have exhibit really showcasing the works of John Milton. And for those that are not familiar with John Milton, think of it in terms of English literary giants. You have Shakespeare and then John Milton. We have John Milton's famous work, Paradise Lost, from 1668, as well as a collection of his works from 1697. This is Raphael Holinshed's Chronicles of England, Scotland, and Ireland from 1587. This copy of Holinshed's Chronicles belonged to John Milton, and that the annotations were in fact his.
The end. From the Phoenix Public Library, Crystal Long, 12 News.
Thanks for watching, and a reminder, new episodes of Weekend premiere every Friday on 12 Plus. You can also watch past episodes on the app. Download 12 Plus for your Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku to watch for free. Have a great week.